ethnic groups, would that mean that you wouldn't recognize Israel?
Excuse me?
Would that mean like Israel is kind of a country that's
We
based
did
on ethnic?
recognize Israel.
Sorry?
We do recognize Israel.
Isn't that a similar case to Kosovo?
It is not exactly the same case. It is not an ethnic state. It's not based on a single ethnicity. They are Arab deputies in the Israeli Knesset.
Yeah, could I put a question for both of you? Firstly, Consul Palmera. Countries such, not just Spain, but Greece, Russia, and the other countries which have opposed Kosovo independence, how long can this go on for? Will we get to a point, do you foresee us getting to a point where presumably it's going to be quite difficult for this statement to be reversed now? Can you see us getting to a point 10, 15, 20 years down the line where there is still this standoff, or what prospects do you think that there are for the international community to come together and somehow find agreements on this? And Consul Referent, in terms of the statements of independence from the Kosovos, is there any way, if the international community were to come together, that it would be possible for Kosovo to be de-recognised, as it were? Because your statements and statements of the foreign ministers of the countries which have recognised independence is quite unequivocal, and it seems that there is very little room for manoeuvre. And so in those circumstances, how long, I guess the question for both of you would be, how long can this standoff go on before some form of settlement, some form of negotiation is reached?
No. If I would foresee the future, I would not live here. I would have foreseen the Euro millions result the other day, and I would be basking in the Caribbean. I really do not know whether there will be some time when the position of my government will change. We simply try to abide by what we think is international law and are reading of Resolution 1244. If there are significant changes, know that international law is based on two premises: the premise pacta sunt servanda and the clause rebus sixtantibus. If the clause rebus sixtantibus applies, then the position does change. If it doesn't apply, the pacta sunt servanda is enforced. So we continue to abide by what was decided by the international community in 1999, and we continue abiding by Resolution 1244.
I was actually going to ask just if I might follow up and abuse my power in the chair. Actually, one follow-up question and then another. The first was actually, I was wondering if you could explain something about those terms and what that means.
Pacta sunt servanda means only that treaties have to be complied with. And rebus extensivus means if circumstances remain the same. They are both the basis of international law. Pacta sunt servanda was also enunciated by the head of the Spanish School of International Law, Fray Francisco de Victoria, when he said, "El tratado no se impone, pero obliga a quien lo firma." Treaties are not imposed, but they actually bind those who sign it. The clause rebus sixtantibus is really the exception to the clause pacta sunt servanda. It means that if there is a fundamental change in the circumstances, then the parts of the compacts that have been entered into might be subject to change.
I wonder actually, before we take questions, we could have a discussion on what, of course, as you mentioned, the Kosovo Parliament is accepting limited sovereignty in as much as they're still under the administration very much of the UN and the EU. And I'm wondering if both of you could take a moment to discuss what you think will actually change for Kosovars, and the degree to which this Declaration of Independence is simply a symbolic gesture, and moreover, if it is a symbolic gesture on behalf of both of your countries in recognizing or not recognizing the Kosovar gesture.
I may possibly give an example. My eldest son is in Kosovo at the moment. He's a policeman, federal policeman, German federal policeman. And he is the head of security of Pristina Airport. Now, he started his tour of duty in September last year. And the way how he organizes that, there is a there is a Kosovar head of security. And he has so to speak the title of being the head of security. But in this case, my son sits next to him and looks over his shoulder. Now, after the 17th of February, I understand nothing much has changed. There's still a Kosovar head of security, and my son's still sitting and looking over his shoulder. So I think the worst case scenarios that were painted have not come true. Limited sovereignty is quite a different thing from unlimited sovereignty. In particular, if you've got a fairly big army contingent in your country, who, as we've seen in the border troubles just after the recognition after the 20th or 22nd of February, destroyed the border posts. I mean, it took several hours, and then order was restored. And this continues to happen. So, in that sense, I think we can see what the future will hold for the time being, as long as these forces will still be deployed. But I might come back to one earlier question. I think you said that the Kosovo Parliamentary Assembly only Albanian the Serbs had walked out before. So this assembly created a fact by saying that they would be independent as of this Sunday, 17th of February. There's a similar case, not very similar, but a case that is to some extent similar. It's in Cyprus. You might remember Cyprus. Cyprus also declared, Northern Cyprus declared independence from the south after the Turkish invasion. And so far as I understand, only Turkey and I think only Turkey recognized it. So there are both elements involved. One is the fact of declaring independence and showing that you regard yourself as an independent state. But then obviously states do not operate in the vacuum. They operate in an international community. And without recognition